And the Raiders defense will rest at the start because they've won the toss and will receive. David Treadwell, who has replaced Richard Carlos as the kicker for the Broncos, sends it on its way. Stephon Adams gives it to Bobby Joe Edmonds, the new Raider. Edmonds, a former Seahawk. And he had daylight, tripped up at the 25-yard line. And here come the Raiders and their quarterback, Jay Schrader. Rory Graves, John Giesick, Turk Wright, and Wilkerson in that offensive line. Two veterans injured, center and guard. Schrader with Allen and Smith. Willie Gault and Mervyn Fernandez. Mike Dial is the tight end. When they go to four wide receivers, we'll see Mike Alexander and Timmy Ware. This partisan crowd certainly is part of Denver's great home field record. They've lost only 13 times in 9 years that Dan Reeves has been the head coach here at Mile High. Schrader looking long. He goes long, but to the sidelines. Willie Gault was the intended receiver. The defense of the Broncos, and a lot of new names in the Denver uniform this year. Alfonso Carricker, Greg Cragen, and Andre Townsend, the front three. Brooks, Dennison, Mecklenburg, and Fletcher, those familiar linebacker names. When they go to the nickel defense, those four men in white go out and come back in a different position. You'll see Holmes, the former Buccaneer, Carricker, Mecklenburg, Fletcher, Corrington, Haynes, and Robbins with the same four defensive backs. We'll show you those after this play. 2nd and 10 from the 25. Schrader changing plays at the line of scrimmage. And the handoff to Steve Smith, the fullback. And this is a smothering, aggressive defense of the new defensive coordinator, Wade Phillips. Steve Atwater and Michael Brooks, two new names in on the tackle. And Atwater, one of those four deep backs. Tyrone Braxton, Wyman Henderson, two new cornerbacks. Dennis Smith, an old name, and Steve Atwater has replaced Mike Harden. Harden now is in the uniform of the Los Angeles Raiders today.
Well, the Raiders are going to have to pick their spots against this defense. So far this year, 1-1, but they haven't had any of that consistency you need. So they're going to have to find their way through this defense.
Schrader from the shotgun on 3rd and 9. Gets away from the rush and hits Marcus Allen at the 40-yard line, of first down. And quite a play by Schrader, first to avoid the sack and then on the run to hit his talented receiver running back Marcus Allen.
Well,
Allen, who
something showed up there,
late.
Dick. Yeah, something showed up there. The pass rush was right on top of him. This has really worried Dan Reeves prior to the game.
Number 60, moving at the snap, 3rd down.
So they bring it back. Rory Graves was moving in his attempts to block for Schrader, so that first down pass nullified, and it'll now be 3rd and 14 for Schrader.
Well, look for that pass rush. Dan Reeves is really concerned about it. They're stopping the run, but they haven't gotten the quickness they need coming up the field in the pass rush. That last play, they were there. They forced Schrader out of the pocket.
Reeves Broncos didn't stop the run last year. They're first in the league after 2 games this season. Vance Mueller in motion. They like to throw to him. He has good speed. Down the middle, wide open as Fernandez fumbles the ball. And the Broncos do not recover. It goes out of bounds on the Raiders sidelines, and they maintain possession with a first down at the 39-yard line.
Fernandez is just going to cross the field deep against the zone defense. You'll notice with Schrader, he's going to have room to throw the ball right up the middle. He'll step into an open area and find his spots. I don't know if he really had the ball there, Dick.
Kip Corrington was the man who made the hit, and then Randy Robbins could not fall on the ball. There was no control, so it goes back to last possession. The Raiders get the first down at the 40-yard line. 19-yard play.
That intermediate ball, his accuracy on the intermediate ball, that was well thrown, that previous one to Fernandez.
Play action, Schrader. What a catch. Did he have control at the 40? Willie Gault. Yes, he did. 20 more yards for the Raiders. And now they say no. The official moves in and says no, he did not have control when the ball hit the ground. He was still juggling.
That was beautifully timed. Beautifully timed. 1st and 10. They took the play fake. Just Gee, that looked close, too. I guess when he hit the ground, he lost it.
I was using the ground to bring the ball back into possession, so that was a good call.
Well, the Raiders are
Montana touchdown passes.
No question, Philadelphia blitzed one too many times.
Second down and 10. That's Dial, the tight end, in motion. The toss to Marcus Allen. And Allen, the all-time rusher in Raider history, has about 7 before he's knocked out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
It was a beautiful block by Steve Smith on the linebacker. He just chopped him down.
Smith, who blocked for DJ Dozier at Penn State before being drafted by the Raiders 2 years ago in the 3rd round. And he has done some damage to the Broncos. Last year, Denver fans will well recall leading 24-0 at the half. Second half, the Raiders came back, forced overtime and won, and Smith had a couple of key touchdowns in that game. 3rd and 3. Out of the backfield is Smith, and he has the first down at the Denver 43-yard line.
Well, we had good protection that time again for Schrader. I can understand Dan Reeves' point because his defenders are not getting off the blockers. There's no real pressure on top of it. And just a man in the flat, easy enough. Up the field he goes. And one thing about Smith, he's developed into a good pass receiver, an excellent blocker, and he carries the ball just enough to keep the defense honest. And that keeps the heat off Marcus because, as you know, Marcus is one of the great campaigners in the game today, Marcus Allen.
And a marked man for every defense in the league. So another first down for the Raiders. They take the opening kickoff and have now marched into Denver territory. Michael Brooks can't get Schrader, misses him a second time, and finally down he goes at the 45. That'll go as a sack. Michael Brooks, talk about frustration. He had 2 shots at Schrader and couldn't nail him either time.
Well, he blitzed right up underneath everything. Nobody to block him. A play pass, the back was supposed to come across, couldn't make the play. Schrader shows a lot of poise. You know, he's 4 years behind Elway in experience. He was in minor league baseball 4 years. Elway was 2 years at Stanford, 2 years with the Broncos before Schrader even attempted football. 9 games as a college football player, 9 games at UCLA up to his sophomore year. So he's made tremendous progress.
Second down and 12. Fernandez, the only man that's wide. He's to the near side, and now Marcus to the other. Oh, you don't see many mishandling of a snap like that where it just shoots right to the defense. Wade Phillips, the Bronco defensive coordinator, the son of former head coach at Houston, New Orleans, Bum Phillips. Boy, that's a gift.
Looks like Schrader was concentrating downfield, just took his mind off taking that snap.
And Dan Turk, the center, kicked it forward, it appeared, right to the Broncos. Yep, there's Turk, and unintentionally.
Well, we'll see a new Bronco offense now. New offense, 2 tight ends.
Elway. Down the middle. Incomplete to Clarence Kay as tight end. Zeph Lee, the safety, the man replacing the late Stacy Turan. They'll work on him. Let's look at the Denver offensive unit with Elway running the show. What a great player he is. Perry, Bishop, Karts, Jariga, Lanier. Those 5 men are 16 pounds heavier per man than the team that blocked for Elway last year. Winder, they got a big fullback in Alexander, Jackson and Johnson and Kay, familiar receivers. When they go to 4 wide out, you'll see Steve Sewell and Michael Young. As you know, Ricky Nattiel placed on the injured reserve list. He'll not play now for 6 weeks. He has a fracture of the kneecap. This is Bobby Humphrey, rookie from Alabama, to the 45-yard line, a short gain, and here's the Raider defense. Pakel, Golick, and Wise in a rebuilt defense. Injuries have just been a common malady. And when they make their shifts, those men go out. Townsend, Pakel, Davis, and Wise will form a 4-man line with Benson, the only linebacker. Mike Haynes and Eddie Anderson come in as the extra defensive backs to join McDaniel, Washington, Lee, and Van McElroy.
Van McElroy is a safety that plays linebacker. That last play right into the middle of the tackle, he's been really the thing to save the Raiders' running game.
Flags are down. Elway has a free play. Or does he? Contact beat Cleveland. 3rd and 13. Elway. It's a first down at the Raider 41-yard line to Steve Sewell. Steve Sewell from Oklahoma, a #1 pick of the Broncos 4 years ago. Now he's going to be used almost primarily now as a receiver.
Well, he's just reverted to that as the years have passed, but now with the injury to Until, he'll take that job. Steve came out of Oklahoma as a running back and flanker, and people couldn't decide what to do with him. Denver took him, I believe, as a running back. That didn't work out. He's been an exceptional receiver as a spot player.
If you want to know the best movies around town, ask Sewell. He's an avid buff and really a very discerning one. Bobby Humphrey, the man that the Broncos are very excited about, is held at just about 3. Golick and Benson make the tackle.
Humphrey's an interesting case in himself. Coming out in that supplemental draft, had poor workouts. 2 times he broke his foot. A lot of people passed him up. Denver took a shot at him, and now they have potentially a premier running back.
2nd down, 7. Melvin Breton is in the lineup. He too, in essence, a rookie, although drafted last year by Miami, didn't play, had a knee injury. And it's Breton with the ball. He almost broke it. To the 30-yard line goes the big guy from the University of Miami of Florida. Lionel Washington saved the touchdown.
Bratton's got that power. They've never had a big fullback at Denver. They've just gerrymandered their way around. The fullback's been John Elway. Now they've got Bratton, they've got Alexander, and they're using him. Now, that was a trap play. He had to break 2 tackles.
Jeff Alexander weighs 232 and Melvin Bratton 225. It is a Denver team that has made some wholesale in a Bronco uniform. 4.6 average. Sewell and Winder under 4.
I think you'll see John running less now, and his running backs carrying the ball. That'll be a real changeup. That'll really, he'll profit from it. His career will be extended, and he'll really reach that greatness that comes with experience.
No score. First quarter, 8:26 remaining. Sammy Winder, a little delay, and he weaves his way inside the 25.
Great job of pulling by Gerald Perry, the left tackle, right up through the hole. Beautiful shot. Now we're going to get a pull right up through the hole by Perry. Both these people pulling and trapping with the counter play, and you'll see some excellent movement by both people. Watch Perry right up through the field, 60, right up into his man, and of course we get a break off of it, and Winder gets a chance to make extra yards.
6 yards for Winder, 2nd down and 4. And tripped up in the backfield is Jeff Alexander back at the 29-yard line. They had trouble getting that one underway. Alexander, who played at Southern University. Joe Montana has now thrown 5 touchdown passes, 68 and 70 yards among them. And you see now the 49ers, the middle score, ahead by 10 at Philadelphia. Buffalo and Houston in a scoring fest. Pittsburgh has beaten Minnesota. What an upset there. The Bears remain unbeaten. And it's the Giants smothering Phoenix. Phoenix had been 2-0. Washington apparently will win its first. Tampa Bay is 2-1. And Indianapolis wins its first of the year. That's Michael Young in motion. He was going forward. That's a penalty. The throw by Elway, incomplete. Intended for Mark Jackson, and Terry McDaniel knocked it away. But Michael Young was moving up.
This is a gerrymandered front 4 rushing for the Raiders. Mike Shanahan said before the game he had a special blitz. He thought we'd get there, and it's going to get there. There it is.
But Elway breaks away his strength and gets a block, and he's going to go all the way for a touchdown. We started today and welcoming you to Denver, talking about the greatness of that man, John Elway. And it gives you shivers when great players do great things, and Elway doesn't disappoint you often. David Treadwell, the new kicker. He hasn't missed a field goal or a PAT. And Denver, after the fumble recovery, gets the first score of the game. John Elway, 29 yards.
We're getting a blitz. John's going to come forward and make people miss, then work up the field. McElroy had a sack. Almost made it. I know the Raiders had worked on this frequently. They knew the pass protection. McElroy almost there. Now look at this talent. This man is not only a great athlete, but those instincts are there.
Set up the blockers. He set up 2 great blocks on the way to that touchdown. Let's see Elway from ground level.
Watch him avoid people. 2 people have to miss. Now when he starts for that goal line, he's a load.
Now after the fumble recovery on the bad snap, Elway gets his team in the end zone. Dan Reeves said, you want to talk about extending that long-term contract? What a player.
Well, he told us that 11 years might do it. I think that takes him to this present contract. But the way Denver's developing as a team, John can play longer because he won't have quite that pressure. Every league that he's played in, high school, college, pro, he's had to carry his team. It may not be the case now.
Treadwell down to Bobby Joe Edmonds. And Edmonds hit right at the 20, and down goes a flag. The only other AFC team that has won the first 2 games, a +11. And then updated, counting the touchdown just scored, the Broncos 41 of 69, nearly 60% of their points, the result of getting the ball on interception or fumbles. From the 9. A draw to Marcus Allen. And what an effort by Allen, who fumbles, but I believe he was down. He was marked down at the 15-yard line, a 6-yard gain for Allen.
Marcus has been a great campaigner, one of the great players in the league, but more importantly, what a competitor. And he's had to carry his team in a sense. He's one of the few people left from the glory days of the Raiders.
There are his numbers, more rushes and more yardage than any Raider in history, still averaging over 4. 62 touchdowns rushing, and you add to that another 15 receptions, has 79 touchdowns in his career, more than any Raider. Allen again, picking his hole and picking up the first down with it to the 21-yard line. A half dozen more for Marcus. Marcus Allen, as you look at him, there's another man on the Denver sidelines watching his every move, Bobby Humphrey.
Bobby Humphrey, from a youngster, just watching television. They're both built the same running style, and as this day progresses, you'll see Bobby have his shots at running like that smooth, easy, striding, instinctive kind of running. And Humphreys is a young Marcus Allen in a sense.
He said, that was my idol growing up in Birmingham. On first down, Steve Smith, the fullback, gets a couple, maybe 3 out to the 23 or 4-yard line. Greg Cragen, who led the Broncos in tackles last year at his nose position, makes the hit. There's Cragen from Utah State.
They've helped the defense. Cragen has played well, but Carricker coming in, Townsend, big people in that defensive line, working with Mecklenburg and Dennison. They're much stronger inside than they've been. And of course, they're stopping the run better.
Instead of the schemes and the tricks that the Bronco defense was famous for under Joe Collier, who won games with mirrors with the talent he had, this is a more aggressive and certainly a bigger defense. Schrader, plenty of time. Ooh, right through the hands of the tight end, Mike Dial, and almost into the Broncos, Simon Fletcher.
Well, Mecklenburg was coming off the corner that time. He was well blocked by Graves, but that's a good story in itself, too, Dick. Here's Mecklenburg. Carl Mecklenburg now in the vintage years of his career. He came in as a late pick, came out of Minnesota, prior to that Augustana College, but in his junior year of high school he was a junior varsity player. Wasn't big enough, didn't have the skills, and just by his tenacity he's come all the way up to becoming a premier football player. Right now he's at the defensive right end for Denver. He's going to pass rush.
That's a nice inspirational story for every young player. Fumble by Schrader, and the Broncos may have taken it away. Guess who? Mecklenburg.
Well, the snap was mishandled, but Mecklenburg had so much push and drive, he put Graves right back into the quarterback.
And then with Schrader going for the ball, Mecklenburg was just a bit quicker and a bit stronger in getting it.
That ball was there. He went for it. It's one of the problems Graves has had. Number 60 for the Raiders, offensive tackle. He hasn't had the foot quickness thus far.
Low at 4:25 remaining in the first quarter. The Broncos leading 7-0, presented with another outstanding opportunity. Here's Humphrey. And he's all the way to the 3-yard line. There's something you didn't see often from Denver, a sweep.
I think that's the first time I've seen that sweep run by Denver in Reeves' history. What we've got is a block here, both guards out via San Francisco style, and they just break that entire corner. Humphrey gives them the speed to get this done. Flanker blocks down. There's your fullback, Alexander, both guards pulling, and Humphreys just skirts that in using his speed. Now, that's a totally different look for Denver. And again, I'm a big Elway fan. That's going to take the heat off John Elway.
Yeah, Marcus Allen said, hey, I might be idolizing his work, Bobby Humphrey. First and goal, Denver at the 4. Fullback Alexander straightened up at the 1-yard line on a solid hit. Eddie Anderson came up to meet him and deny the touchdown.
Just a straight shot right up the middle. One man to do it. Anderson had to make a heck of a tackle to get that done. Again, you've got a big fullback now, 230 pounds, in Alexander. Again, they've had to do it in a sense with tactics at Denver in the past. Now they can just take you on physically.
Yep, undersized both offensively and defensively, and still made it to 2 Super Bowls. Elway uses defensive schemes, but is a terrific aggressive player under Phillips. Second and goal. Alexander carries the man with him into the end zone for a touchdown. There's a difference between Alexander, 232, and a 200-pound back that used to try to get it in for the Broncos. The big guy just carried in the defender.
That's so important. In the past, they've had to go to Elway, play passing, or bootlegging. And if they can make this breakthrough at Denver, then they're right back in the Super Bowl picture.
Treadwell's try for point. And it's 14-0 Denver. 2 fumble recoveries equal 14 points.
We've got a replay with the guard pulling to the outside. A super block by Humphrey. Yeah, that's Humphrey. No, that's Winder. Super block by Winder. Then Alexander just breaks through Anderson's tackle.
And Mike Shanahan can't do much about it when you leave the ball on the ground, and the Broncos have capitalized and lead 14-0.
Well, the wheels are turning for Shanahan right now. He's looking at 14-0. He's going to have to put things together a little quicker than he'd hoped. Going to have to get the ball in the air. And Bobby Joe Evans, by the way, Dick's going to have to make a play. He's a super return man. And he's got that speed. He's got that persistence. He's going to have to make a play to get field position at least once during this game.
Well, last year, in the first game between these two teams here at Mile High, Denver did the same thing. They jumped out to a 24-0 lead at the end of the first half and didn't win. And Shanahan won both games against his former head coach Reeves, winning 21-20 in the Coliseum for the sweep. Treadwell spins this one a little shorter, and it's to Stephon Adams at the 9. Flags are down as Adams gets it to the 28-yard line, and Kip Corrington, Texas A&M, makes the tackle while they sort out the penalty. Let's bring you up to date.
Now, come right back with that win. Minnesota is supposedly a Super Bowl contender. Great win for Chuck Noll.
And the Vikings lose their second in a row. That's Fernandez in motion. And Smith the fullback. And a flag goes down. Greg Cragen was down in the bottom of the pile for Denver. Second down and 7. Walt, the speedster, is to the near side. Schrader throwing it a mile to Galt and overthrows him. Boy, does he have an arm? Almost too much. He overthrew him last week at Kansas City, and Galt sprinting clear. But that ball thrown on a line, there was no room for Galt to maneuver under it. It was a bullet all the way.
That is so tough because Galt's speed, Schrader's arm, Dennis Smith wasn't near the deep middle. The ball was beyond him, all the way down the field. But again, you have to hit those kind of things. And Dennis learned something real fast right there.
With 1 second left, Tony Zendejas has kicked a 26-yard field goal for Houston, and that game's in overtime. Buffalo and Houston at 41. Schrader to the tight end dial, incomplete. Could not hang on to it. So 14-0 to the delight of these Denver fans. Let's go to New York and from the National Football League front office to extend our halftime show to 45 minutes just to get in half the scores today. It comes down to Ken Bell, and Bell is hit at the 47-yard line. Jeff Gossett's kick, 46 yards. Let's tuck in some baseball scores of good field position again for Denver. Winder. He's to the Raider 45, a gain of nearly 8.
Well, that's the heart of the Raider defense is weak. Golick is playing excellent football, going down the line of scrimmage to plays, but both his linebackers, Shipp and Benson, aren't attacking the guards when the guards come out to block him. We saw that in previous 2 games. There's all kind of running lanes up behind Golick on either side of him as he tries to go down the line of scrimmage. Basically, what we're seeing is we've got a great player, or at least a very good player in Golick, very, very average players at this point in both those inside linebackers.
Second down 3 as they mark it at the 46. Elway tries a deep one to Jackson. Touchdown! Third touchdown pass of the year and his longest, 46 yards to Mark Jackson, right on the money. Al Davis in the crowded press box area.
Well, when we talked about McElroy earlier, we said linebacker safety. He's been coming up to make these stops at middle opens when he came forward on that play pass.
David Treadwell just does skid that one through the right side. It's 21-0.
It's a great shot down the field. Now Washington will get in trouble. He's basically in a zone defense. He's turned and see he finally has to react inside, but there isn't any weak safety. He doesn't show up. He doesn't show up. There's the big play. That's a great catch too.
It appeared Washington was in position to move in and make the defensive play, and Elway had just enough arm to put it out of the defender's reach. 21-0 with 1 minute 43 seconds left in the first quarter, and do they love it in Denver?
Raiders had better start passing.
Von Adams, our deep, as Schrader thinks through his game plan. Treadwell hits one to the near side to Edmonds, and they'll take the touchback at the 20.
We're going to get a post pattern here, Dick. McElroy's going to be looking the other way with a good play fake inside. We're going to have a big hole in the defense with Washington isolated down that field. See McElroy just turn his back. Now it's too late. And that's a concentration catch because Washington reached in just a little bit early.
Mark Jackson, really a happy-go-lucky guy. He's got one of those terrific smiles, and he's got that enthusiasm, almost naivete of a young man. He says, but you know, for the first time, I think I'm a veteran. I can actually say I'm a veteran. I feel like I'm a part of this whole thing, and it's not just a dream.
Well, the confidence oozed out of him.
Screen to Marcus, and he's got some blockers. And dives out to the 30-yard line. It'll be, depending on the mark, close to a first down.
Think of Marcus now. When Bo Jackson returns, Marcus is now a fullback. And this great campaigner who's gives it everything he's got throughout the game, throughout the season, in a sense has carried his team when they've lost some of that great talent over the years. He's going to have to play fullback in a few weeks. And I can't say that it's the wrong thing to do, but Marcus has to be a big guy to be able to accept that.
Was a first down, just 10 yards made on the screen, and now it's Allen on a draw, met right at the line of scrimmage by Greg Cragen. And flags go down. Oh, getting a little serious in there now. 68 Rory Graves and 71 Greg Cragen of the Broncos.
Well, the Raiders are going to have to keep their poise at this point.
After being tackled, let's see, does he kick? Yes, he kicks Greg. Oh, right in the face he kicks Cragen. We're playing that back and forth. He didn't kick him that many times.
No, I hope not.
Well, that'd be like a Sugar Ray Leonard jab.
Yeah, Mike Tyson uppercut.
So nothing going right for the Raiders.
Well, Shanahan is accepting and absorbing so much heat. And I think he's handling it as well as it can be handled. And he's keeping his poise.
First down and 25 after a 15-yard penalty. Screen to Allen, and Mecklenburg gets him. And that's the end of the first quarter in Denver. And all orange, 15 minutes.
Well, that is personifies what's happening with Denver right now. You see Mecklenburg's drop, good position, the ball's thrown. Nobody to block him. Screen pass. People are out there late. Just ill-timed.
And plenty. First play of the second quarter. Schrader to Allen. Out to the 22. They get some of the yardage back, and that'll bring up third down about 8.
Well, Reeves, of course, Dan Reeves thinks so much of Mike Shanahan. He had a lot to do with their early success, because even offensively, they had Elway, some skilled people, but really it was concept, and Shanahan had a lot to do with it. But again, as I indicated earlier, Dan Reeves was concerned about Mike's Shanahan's maturity, if you call it that, his exposure to the game. He'd only had 4 years of NFL football before he became head coach of the Los Angeles Raiders.
But that third down and 19, remember that 15-yard penalty against Allen has made it really tough. Schrader, lots of time. And he buys some more, gets it to Steve Smith. And Smith out to the 34. That won't be a first down. Steve Atwater, number 27, the top pick of the Broncos out of the University of Arkansas, made the tackle.
And Atwater is a player. He was considered really behind Oliver the second best defensive back in this last draft.
Deion Sanders and this man.
Right, and then when you'd meet him, and you'd really get an appreciation for what he could do for your team. He's bright, he's a college graduate in banking and business, but more importantly, he's got leadership qualities.
Jeff Gossett sends a tailing spiral to Ken Bell. He has trouble, and he's hit just as he catches the ball. He did not call for a fair catch at the 17-yard line. Stephon Adams there for the Raiders. 50-yard punt by Gossett. Oh, the kickers love this place. They figure you're good for another 5-7 yards on field goals and punts when you kick in this high altitude.
These guys returning those punts, Dick, know that ball is going to soar. It's going to take a while to get there, and that coverage is right down underneath it.
Skyline of Denver, Colorado. What a glorious day it is. 80 degrees as you look at the other scores. And there's the big one. Buffalo, Houston, the first game of our NBC doubleheader for much of the country. Tied at 41 in overtime. There are the late games. 21-0 Denver. And the fullback Alexander out across the 20. Bill Pickell tripped him up.
Again, they're breaking behind Golick, and they're going to do it all day because they're not getting people filling. Neither Ship or Benson's going to have to fill that backside hole when Golick starts down the line of scrimmage. They're breaking back, getting a 4 or 5 quick yards before the safety, McElroy, or one of those people get up to make the stop.
In other words, when Golick makes his charge, whether it be left or right, and rides down the line of scrimmage and occupying the blockers, somebody's got to come in on his backside, one of those linebackers, and fill. On 2nd and 7, a delay. Oh, my! Winder is popped as Tom Benson, number 54, he filled. He saw a hole and shot through. Benson from Oklahoma, Plan B free agent from New England.
Well, the Raiders have tried to help their team to refurbish it with Plan B people. They have Emmanuel King, Benson, Golick, Ship. All these people are Plan B, become free agents with other clubs, sign for big bonuses. That's really not going to get it done championship-wise, but I guess it can buy some time until you really get the young, really talented players.
And some of your other star players who are injured. In fairness to Shanahan, this defense is really riddled with injury problems. The key players. Elway again escapes the rush. Anderson comes up to run him out of bounds. And that'll be shy of a first down at the 22-23. There's one of the men not playing today, Howie Long, one of the great down linemen, 5 times in the Pro Bowl. He has the best players. You only have Greg Townsend being the 4th out of that defense. It's like taking your number 3, 4, and 5 hitters out of a baseball lineup.
Well, there's a lot of truth to it, but I'll tell you, in the case of Howie Long, in the case of Robinson, they've played a lot of football. You can almost assume they're going to have minor injuries at this part of their career.
Moran hits a high one. Oh, to Edmonds at the 21. And he returns out to the 34, maybe the 35, about 14 yards on the run back before Pat Kelly can make the tackle. A 56-yard punt by Mike Horan, who was a Pro Bowler last year.
You know, Howie Long is an example, Dick. They're trying to play him. They need him desperately.
Trailing 21-0. 11 minutes plus remaining in the first half. That's Vance Mueller in motion. Has good deep speed, and they like to throw to him. This one underneath to Mueller. Gets back up, and Simon Fletcher and Mecklenburg meet him at the 42-43. A gain of about 9.
You're just going to have to continually throw to try to get field position. Got a chance to get back in it.
Schrader and Berline is back up. No, they won't see many man coverage. And that the Bronco defense, they're a zone team. 2nd down 2. Marcus shooting up the middle near midfield in the first down. Well, he's got healthy legs, quick legs, because he didn't go through the rigors of the
inning. He wants the team to win, but that fullback spot, he's not built for it.
On first down, Schrader. No one there except the Bronco. Atwater gets a gift. 40, 50, and he's out of bounds at the Raider 43. Steve Atwater.
Well, that was a blown pass or pattern. Because Galt wants to break to the outside, and Schrader throws it for an inside break.
Steve Atwater saying, my, throw this right to me. He has his first pro interception.
When you see Galt breaking to the corner, we're going to get a ball thrown right inside. There's the interception. So we had miscommunication of some kind. You're not sure which of the two. The protection's pretty good. He strides into the throw, but you see Galt breaking away. Of course, Atwater just takes it like it's a punt.
Oh, another turnover, the 3rd of the game. And Elway starts at the Raider 43. And Bobby Humphrey gets very little. Tom Benson right into him.
Well, Benson's been leading the team in tackles. That's one of the few times he's made the tackle on the other side of the line of scrimmage. In my observation, he's been making a lot of stops, working along the line of scrimmage behind it. And that's just not going to get it done for a linebacker.
In his own set, meaning behind it, being in your own secondary.
In your own
not
secondary, right,
it.
right. Did I say behind about 4 times there?
Ball at the 42, 2nd and 9. Humphrey and Alexander, the young setbacks, and Golick charges in. We'll see.
Defensive ends for the Raiders are tall, angular, spot player type people. And right now they've got key roles with no one to back them up. They're going to have to play the entire game. It's tough to take on those big tackles.
Here's Humphrey looking for the first down and will be close at the 33-yard line. Golick made the tackle. Well, speaking of desperation, you see number 52 in your picture for the Raiders. That's Lyndon King, the veteran linebacker. He got a call earlier this week out in Honolulu, where he lives. Says, we want you back. He had been cut by the Raiders at the end of summer training and thought he's looking for new life. The former cow chip throwing champion out of Colorado State nearby. So he said he'd come back, give it another shot. And King's going to play a lot today, even though he's only been back in practice 2 or 3 days.
Well, he's a big hitter, and the players' entire roster like him.
3rd and 1. Humphrey. Diving. That will be close to a first down. While keep you abreast of that game as we go back to action here in the second period. We're at the midpoint of this second quarter. It was a first down, and Humphrey is hit immediately by Golick. The veteran from Notre Dame charging through and makes the stop on the rookie Humphrey. A loss of 3 or 4.
It's hard to believe he'd be available from Cleveland after such a great career. But you see the quickness around behind the block. Very few people can do that. He just skirted around behind the center and beat the guard to the point of destined to be a Raider.
He was warming up before the game today and listening to his Walkman. Elway throws out of the backfield, incomplete to Vance Johnson. Johnson turning a bit late. The ball was there before he really had a chance to sight it. Terry McDaniel. Elway, who's 2 for 4. Throws it in the flat, incomplete to Winder, and flags are down. Bill Pickel was putting on some pressure. Game of the year in 1988. Went the full season keeping the ball in play. Aims it for the sidelines. And he hits the sidelines. So mark it at the 5-yard line. Oh, he does that well. He told me 2 days ago when we chatted, he said, I don't try for that pooch punt or the high one and hope it'll just bounce right so someone can down it. I'd rather use my regular kicking stride and aim for the coffin corner. He's really out of yesteryear, and he does hit that corner. 5-yard line.
It's an art form.
We'll be in Los Angeles, where Seattle will play the Raiders, and San Diego at Phoenix. So from his own 5-yard line, Schrader. Marcus Allen gets out to the 10, and finally Dennis Smith, a former Trojan, and maybe a little too much on the part of the Broncos, who wrestle Allen down.
You know, that Denver-Cleveland game should be a great one. With Bud Carson coming in, they're playing defense. They've got the quarterback. They're in Cleveland. This will make it again tough on Denver.
Cleveland, of course, playing Cincinnati tomorrow night. It is against Dennis Smith, a bit overzealous and trying to drag. That was one of those prideful tackles where the back won't go down, the whistle blows, and the defensive player doesn't feel like he's completed his job unless he wrestles down that man with a pumpkin, and Dennis Smith gets the penalty.
Well, between those two safeties, Smith and Atwater, you've got 2 big hitters. Smith with that experience, Atwater with that young enthusiasm. That's so much of football now, the 2 safeties stopping the run.
First down for the Raiders at the 26. Marcus again. Down to the 29-yard line. Let's see what's happening easily. They sometimes lead to championships or disappointing years. Marcus Allen rarely disappoints with the ball out to the 35. A yard shy of a first down brings up 3rd and 1. So Buffalo goes to 2 and 1 after they lost Monday night to this Denver team, and the Houston Oilers are now 1 and 2.
You know, Granville talking before the game about I'm not sure what that label is they have in Cleveland now, in Houston now, but how their defense was going to do it. 47 points.
Boy, the scoring, as you mentioned last week, incredible, the high number of points being racked up by teams around the NFL. Short yardage, 3rd and 1. Marcus already with 40 yards, figures to get the call. It is Allen off the right side, and he gets nearly 5, and a first down near the 40-yard line. Those of Denver have not wasted any opportunities. They've racked up 3 quick touchdowns in the first quarter, and now in the second period with 4:22 remaining in the half. It's the Raiders trailing 21-0, and Schrader on 1st and 10 scrambles. He's got a lot of running room, and the big quarterback dances out of bounds at the Denver 42-yard line, and a first down. And that's remindful of a John Elway scramble for a touchdown, a marvelous run, much like the one that set up the win in Buffalo on Monday night. Look at this. He eludes the rush. He should have been brought down there and calls out the traffic and makes the final 5 yards like a fullback, and that gave the Broncos their first touchdown of the game.
Well, that was vintage John Elway. He did it last week. He'll do it every game. There'll be one run somewhere that'll make a difference. But the difference in this Denver team now is that running game. It's got the pressure off Elway, defensively and offensively.
Now go Walsh. John Elway also with a 46-yard throw to Mark Jackson. First down Raiders. Steve Smith inside the Bronco 40, and a lot of drive, carrying the whole pile with him to the 36-yard line. Vance Mueller and Smith are the backs. Play action. Schrader, Fletcher knocks the ball away and recovered by Cragen. A flag is down. We'll see if the play counts. Greg Cragen falls on the loose ball, but it was that man, Simon, started an average near midfield, while the Raiders beginning inside their 20. And there's the big reason. 3 fumble recoveries and an interception by Atwater on a missed throw by Schrader. Or misconnect with his man Gall. It was right to Atwater. And Elway's looking for a big one. Goes sideline, and it's Melvin Bratton, who's to the 41-yard line. He's a part of the new faces look here in Denver. The excitement that youth has brought. 18 new players. 13 of the 18 are either rookies or first-year players. Bratton, one of them. He had a serious knee injury in the Orange Bowl his senior year with Miami. And then the Dolphins picked him in the draft. He never signed last year, went back into the draft, and Denver took him in the 7th round. He's brought his 225 pounds and great hands for a fullback to this Denver team.
He's just one of a few. That total turnover of this team is occurring. It's just evolutionary in a sense, because they've got to make a change.
Down on both sides. There's another man, Bobby Humphrey. He's got speed, and he's got some moves. 12 yards for Humphrey, who idolized Marcus Allen as he grew up near Legion Stadium in Birmingham, Alabama.
That wasn't Marcus Allen running. Look at the sliding, slithering kind of movement, keeping his feet head up, the same style, sort of an upright sliding style, and watch the final spin for the extra yards. That's Marcus Allen. Now Bobby Humphrey has had somebody to watch all these years, one of the truly great ones, one just beginning his career, the other winding down somewhat.
It's another Denver first down as they drive for more, leading 21-0. Boy, they let you know about that when we arrived in Denver, that's for sure. Here comes Elway trying to add to the 21-0 lead, and Bobby Humphrey has the catch out of bounds at the 20-yard line. Jackie Shipp, the tackler for the Raiders. Here's a young kid from Alabama who grew up, as we said, near Legion Stadium, as we get a little push and shove. Nothing serious. And used to sell Coca-Colas, he told us, at Legion Stadium. He said, all you hope for is to have a good day of sales so that you could quit after 3 quarters and watch the game in the 4th. And I asked him, I said, well, did you always want to be a football player? He said, no. My mother said I should be a musician. He was a trumpet player, pretty good trumpet talent, all through elementary school, and had to sneak away to play in his first football game. That's a familiar story. And he said, the only way I could win my mother's way, I was the most valuable player. I brought back the trophy.
Brought back the trophy. He said he tried the trumpet just recently. Thank God he went to football.
Boy, he's got some talent. They took a chance. He had a couple of broken, he had his foot broken twice during his senior year at Alabama, and many thought he was a risk, but boy, the Broncos like him, and he certainly looks healthy.
Well, it was really a coup for Denver in drafting him. He wasn't in shape. He had that history of broken bone in his ankle. The scary part of it, a lot of people were off of him because of that, but he didn't work out well. He ran a 4.640 in their workouts prior to that supplemental draft. Denver liked him. He had broken Alabama records. He had the quickness they wanted. They had faith in him. They took him, and it looks like a super pick.
As Elway said, it's the first time since I've been here I've got a back in the backfield, meaning his fullback's bigger than I am, and I've got a man who can go wide. I've never had either. Here's the speed. And on first down, Humphreys near the 10-yard line as the clock runs. 1:12 left in the half. 21-0, and Elway has 2 timeouts left.
I don't think this is one where the Raiders can come back, Dick. I know they did a year ago. Different kind of game. In this game, Denver's dominating physically. And I don't think the Raiders can come back. If they do, they're going to have to go ahead and throw the football. That last hit on Schrader was a play pass with just minutes to go in the half. No reason to play pass block in that situation.
Vance Johnson in motion. Elway gets away again and throws for Jackson. Touchdown. He first had to elude the rush strong enough to kick free and find Mark Jackson for 11 yards. He had hit Jackson earlier on a deep post for 46 yards and a score.
This is one of those plays that are spontaneous that Elway's done probably since he's in the 7th grade. That great spontaneous play.
David Treadwell, the new place kicker for the Broncos, adds the extra point. And with 36 seconds left in the half, it's all Denver.
To the outside. Meanwhile, Mark Jackson's running down the field in normal pattern. He breaks. Elway throws all the way back through the traffic. Super spontaneous play by Elway. Up underneath to the outside, but watch Jackson. He knows just what to do, breaking back inside. Nice touch throw up over the top. That's greatness.
Elway running and throwing the ball has had a remarkable first half, and the 28-0 score reflects that. A long attempt by Edmonds. He gets to the 19-yard line, turning it out of his own end zone, and it'll be first down for the Raiders at that point. Well, the right way here in Denver is the Elway in this first half, running and throwing 28-0. They're going to try for something. They send 3 wides to the left, and then they screen it up the middle to Marcus Allen. He is a terrific talent, but gets only 11 yards out of it and fumbles, and it goes out of bounds. That was a live ball.
What a player.
Stops the clock.
Marcus, with that history all the way through from University of Southern Cal to this, just great competitor with stamina, win or lose. And we've got greatness on the field in Marcus, and certainly on John Elway and Mecklenburg.
Time running out on the Raiders. Catch by Mervyn Fernandez, and he's whistled down by Atwater, the 6'4", 215-pound rookie safety, and that's the end. Kicker's name. Jager kicks it off to Denver. It's Bell and Humphrey, and Bell takes it at the 9. And Stephon Humphrey, Adams can't tackle him. Stephon Humphreys can't either. He quit after last year here in Denver, and it's first down for Denver at the 20-yard line. John Elway and Jay Schrader, comparing them statistically, both men with about equal yardage, but Elway getting 2 touchdowns while Schrader intercepted once, and he also fumbled once that led to a score. They're so much alike, born on the same day, 1 year apart. Both grew up in Southern California, played against each other in high school, in football and in basketball. Both married wives that were athletic. It goes on and on. They've been tracing each other. Both played minor league baseball.
I might remind you, Dick, both hit very poorly in minor league baseball.
That's right. They were common in that regard. Well, no, actually, Elway hit over 300 this year in Oneonta, New York, while Schrader had trouble with the curveball after 4 years in the Blue Jay organization. And there they are. They were 79, drafted Schrader in the first round. Dan Marino of Miami in the 4th round. Infielder, third baseman, John Elway in the 18th by the Royals, eventually signed with the Yankees. And Don Mattingly, gee, that didn't, who's he playing for? The Buccaneers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I guess it is.
Schrader started late, and he's in pretty good shape now to become one of the better quarterbacks.
Second down, 6. No reason to take any chances, Denver, and so the Raiders will play defensively that way. Humphrey gets another yard or 2. He led the Broncos in rushing with 41 yards in the first half. Marcus Allen had 44 to lead the Raiders.
Well, now it's time for the Denver running offense to show. 28-0. Obviously, they've got a commanding lead. They can use the clock, develop that running game. And this is the time to take a look at these offensive linemen and use different combinations of blocking, different combinations of plays. They'll have them on tape. They have a good chance to utilize them. Meanwhile, the Raiders are desperate. They've got to make big plays. They've got to come up with something real fast.
Sometimes Elway in this situation will use the draw of the shotgun. No, that won't be the case. 3rd and 4. And it's intercepted. Lionel Washington. And Washington heading for the end zone. A Raider touchdown.
Well, they made something happen. That was the blitz that Mike Shanahan talked about before the game. A 3-man line in a nickel situation, bringing the man off the corner. In this case, it was Van McElroy. Put the heat on Elway. Elway threw a bad ball. First bad ball of the day. Shotgun formation. McElroy will come from the left of the screen. Johnson pretty good shape here, but you see 2 defensive backs on him, and that's just a bad throw. John threw it off the back foot. Again, the running game is critical now. Use the clock. 3rd and 5. Take advantage of it.
Oh, it took the Raiders a minute and 41 seconds to score here in the second half as Lionel Washington gets a 32-yard touchdown. At 17 career interceptions, and that's his second touchdown. Adding the extra point is Jager. And if the Raiders needed anything to cure all the wounds and make them feel better, that was it. Lionel Washington with a quick score on the turnover. Into the end zone it goes. Ken Bell sits it down for the touchback at the 20-yard line. Let's go back to the touchdown interception. And now on first down at the 20, tackled is the fullback Alexander. Again, for those of you who joined us late, the 2 big differences on the offensive side of the ball for the bigger, bulkier Denver team. They were always oversized on offense and defense, and Elway put it very succinctly. He said, for the first time, I'm not the biggest guy in the backfield. He's got Alexander at 232 and Melvin Bratton at 225. And the other is, for the first time, we have sweeps. We can get the ball outside. Bobby Humphrey has the speed to get around the corner. The Denver attack had always been tackle to tackle.
They've got the big blocker, the fine running back, a bigger line, as Dick indicated. The pressure's off. Here's the sweep.
Here's Humphrey. And he cuts it upfield in a hurry and has the first down.
Just a movement play that we're going to see with 2 guards out in front. And what we're going to get is blocking down a fullback outside. But look at both guards coming to the outside with that speed. They just took at the edge of the defense all the way around the corner, and that's just hard running right up the field by Bobby Humphrey. That's what they were looking for in a runner. They finally have it. And of course, the pressure's off John Elway. Every team he's been on, from high school, Granada Hills in Southern California to Stanford, every team, he's had to carry it and be expected to win, even his Super Bowl teams. With this kind of a running game, it puts Denver in the big-time slot, so to speak. They've been in the Super Bowl, but now they'll be able to compete with the big physical teams.
There's the ice truck. Gerald Perry, 305-pound tackle down on that last play. Now they got outside with Humphrey for 10, and now they get 5 with a power back Alexander. Timeout for the injury. Down and 5 early in the 3rd quarter. 11 and a half minutes remaining. Have sacrificed a touchdown on the pass interception by Washington. And now they go to that running game. They got the 2 young men in there. Alexander, and it's play action to him, and then the throw outside to Humphrey, the other back. And Bobby Humphrey is a talent. He has a first down at the 46. Zeph Lee and Lionel Washington make the tackle.
Just combining that trap play, they've run 3 different times I can recall with the play pass. Pulling guard, fake up inside to Alexander. Humphrey's outside. Problem. Play the trap or cover the pass. That time was beautifully executed.
And Humphrey putting some moves to free himself from Zeph Lee. Vance Johnson to the left, the artist. Mark Jackson to the right. Humphrey now shifts into the tail of the eye. Humphrey straight ahead to the 48-yard line. Gerald Perry working on his lower left leg or knee. Jim Jariga's own teammate has a pileup landed in that leg, and they're working on both sides, testing the knee strength. One of many nicknames on this Denver team, the Ice Truck, is there's the Duke and Big Money, and there's Ice Truck, Big Dog, Smiley, Chubb, Sluggo, Gumby. The Smiling Assassin will put the names with those monikers after this play. What'd they call you, Walsh? They ever have a nickname for you?
I think it's Spider, believe it or not.
Spider.
It had nothing to do with sports.
The throw outside, incomplete to Humphrey. Okay, while you spin away over there in the corner with your web, let's see who belongs to those. Well, the Duke, there's the Duke. John Elway, that swagger of his. Big Money is Bobby Humphrey. He's playing like it. Perry the Ice Truck. Big Dog Ken Lanier. Smiley is Steve Sewell. Alfonso Carricker is Chubb. Mark Munford, the linebacker, is Sluggo. Dennis Smith is Gumby. And Steve Atwater, the Smiling Assassin.
Well, again, Denver's been caught throwing the ball. They had an incomplete pass. Again, that running game would be good to go to it and just test it.
3rd and 8, Elway in the shotgun. 9:49 left in the third. Good protection. And incomplete. Mark Jackson with Terry McDaniel all around him. In fact, McDaniel came up figuring he should have had the interception.
That would have brought it right together.
He had a shot. We have a flag down, and it's I guess time had run out on Elway. Maybe there's no play.
Illegal substitution foul. 12 men on the field. Defense. 3rd down again.
Illegal substitution against Dave Adolph's Raider defense. They had too many men on the field, and so Elway gets another play.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've got 11 there. Oh, there he is, 12. I guess 12 people.
That'll do it.
This is the kind of thing. This is the kind of thing that'll trouble Al Davis. It's a minor item down 28-7. Minor item, but this is the kind of thing that'll gall
the Raiders in this town in Denver, and they're up 28-7, and they get a free play now. It's 3rd down and 3 after the too many men on the field call against the Raiders. Here's the draw coming up to Winder, and Winder has the 1st down as he slugs it to the 42 of the Raiders. So that penalty costly. Instead of getting the ball, Denver maintains possession, and of course they're trying to chew up as much time as they can. And this is where the old 45-second clock rather than the 30-second clock really helps a team that has the big lead.
Right, they can use this clock, and I'd assume they would. A lot of time left in the ball game. That time the Raiders sort of fell into a Denver trap. They tried to blitz with their 3-man nickel, 2 defensive backs, and left a big hole inside.
Jim McMahon has thrown a touchdown pass, and the Chargers lead Kansas City 14-6 now in the 3rd. Elway, and he had to unload Alexander, who was well covered by McElroy. Tom Benson was shooting through on Elway.
Well, we got Perry right back inside. Perry has not been a quick athlete. Now with the knee problems, the Raiders will have a chance to pass rush. If so, may get the sack, I guess. The problem here, I think, for Denver is they're trying a lot of special plays, play actions to get their 1st downs instead of just hammering out. We've had 2 sweeps, 2 big sweeps to the left, no sweep to the right, and that's the kind of thing they'd want to develop because they got Cleveland next week, and they have to run on Cleveland.
Well, you saw the good news for Denver. Gerald Perry, all right, he's back in at left tackle. And 2nd down, batted at the line of scrimmage, incomplete. The Raiders really coming after Elway in this 3rd period.
Well, they're going to be blitzing, trying to make something happen. But Perry's back in the game, and right away he's got a pass, and he's going to have real problems to his outside. Those feet just aren't going to be moving. You see, he just gets knocked off balance very quickly. He's had a problem before on quickness. In fact, both Lanier and Perry are much better run blockers than pass blockers. But again, right away he goes in, he's got a big pass block.
Greg Townsend been rather quiet. Talked with him. He thought this was going to be a big day for him. He has not created much turmoil defensively. Here come the safeties right up on the line of scrimmage, Anderson and McElroy, and they're coming after him. And Elway throwing for Johnson, intercepted by Mike Haynes. And a flag is down as Haynes, the veteran, is tackled at the 35-yard line. And they may be calling interference against the Raiders.
Again, they're going to the pass. Raider blitz. They hadn't had that interference call, Dick. You had another interception, probably unnecessary. I don't want to just keep harping on that running game, but
when you're ahead by 3 touchdowns, you.
Yeah.
Jerry Mark Price.
2 fouls on the play. Holding number 66, offense. Pass interference, number 40, defense. Penalties declined. Hold down. Penalties offset.
So no interception. Zeph Lee was the other man with Haynes covering Vance Johnson. Haynes made a fine interception. Would have been his 47th career theft, but it is nullified on the double penalties, and it'll be 3rd down again for Denver and 10.
I'm not sure the momentum's changing at all. I'm not sure of that. But Denver's playing into the Raider hands now. If another incomplete pass, the Raiders are going to have a chance at it.
And it's Elway from the shotgun. He moves Winder to the other side. And here comes the scramble. And the gun. Incomplete. Boy, does he throw well. That was Steve Sewell, the intended receiver, but running a right-handed man, running to his left and able to throw a ball with that kind of velocity.
He's unique. He's probably the only, maybe Cunningham from Philadelphia can do it, but John's one of the very unique people, going left, throwing right. And at Granada Hills High School, recruiting him as I did when I was at Stanford, he did this kind of thing. It was just a zany thing. He can go left, turn, and fire a ball back to the inside.
So he was the kind of guy, even if you could think back the days in high school, you'd say, when that young guy grows up, there's a #1 draft pick. He was that good then, even?
You know he'd be an NFL star with that great athletic ability. Every team he's been on, he's carried in a sense.
Here's Horan to punt. Deep to return is Bobby Joe Edmonds at the 10. So with 8:38 left in the 3rd, the Raiders trailing by 3 touchdowns will get it back. Horan with a terrific kick. Look at that. Out of bounds and 2-yard line. He kicked it right to his man. Darren Carrington, the rookie, was standing at the 2, and Horan just laid it right in his lap. What a kick.
Absolutely beautiful. Timed shot down the field.
Did the same thing in the first half. He kicked it to the sidelines at the 5-yard line. Maybe the best in the NFL at it. Mike Horan. He's an engineer. He's got all the angles figured. Other scores, finals, Buffalo, San Francisco coming back from 11 points down. There are your other finals. Flag is down. Well, last year he kicked 19 times inside the 20 until the last game against Cleveland when he had 2 touchbacks. Anything drive a coach crazier than having a short kick and kicking right down the middle and right through the end zone?
You look for the average. You get the younger punter just seeing that average. Get it over the goal line, anything. Get the average up.
Raiders with 10 men on the line of scrimmage. And this one is down the middle. Edmonds lets it bounce, and it goes into the end zone. So for the first time this year, Horan finds the end zone, the touchback, and the Raiders at the 20. 47 yards, but only 27 net on that one. Well, now to see Seattle, they won today against the Raiders, and San Diego at Phoenix. So be with us on NBC. Now here's a time where Schrader and the Raider offense has to get something on the board. Down the middle to Mueller, incomplete.
That is a tough ball to catch because Mueller knows that weak safety is coming over.
From the 25. Marcus Allen had 44 yards in the first half. He's short of the first down. Buffalo game, Atwater was injured. He injured a thigh, had a thigh bruise. They say that he's got thighs like Earl Campbell. He said that they're so big that his thigh pad doesn't cover the whole front of the leg, and actually injured his thigh. There you see the back side of it. Boy, he does have, for a man that looks so angular, huge thighs.
They say he's another Earl Campbell from his thigh size. But the key for this guy is he makes the big stops. He can play the ball in the air, but the leadership quality, they needed young leadership on this club. So many of the people were released. They released Mike Harden. Mike was a fine safety for Denver for a number of years. but they felt they had to make room for Atwater, and Harden had to go. He couldn't be a backup. He wasn't a special teams player. So from the standpoint of Harden, he's now on the other team playing football, and the Raiders need him desperately because Van McElroy is playing both safety positions in a sense.
Schrader in traffic. Now finds Allen wide open, 45-50. Oh, nice move by Allen, but able to make the tackle was Wyman Henderson at the Denver 49. First down, 24 yards on the play.
Wyman Henderson, we had him for the strike games, and he played for us. We released him with the 49ers, and the key for a lot of these players, he's not marginal players, but young journeyman players, is to try to stay with it, because he came to us. He went to Green Bay, I believe it was.
Minnesota.
Now he's back here and playing full-time, got interceptions, and they're counting on him. And here was a player during the work stoppage, during the strike, that was a fill-in player.
So first down for the Raiders at the Bronco 49. Trailing 28-7 with 6:35 left, third quarter. Underneath again to Allen, working on those linebackers. And here comes Tyrone Braxton to make the tackle, the other corner. Two new corners in this rebuilt defense of Wade Phillips in Denver, Braxton and Henderson.
Well, we're going to get a crossing pattern, and yardage at this point in the game, they have to.
Allen with over 100 yards now running and receiving, and here's Steve Smith on the draw. And he gets it to the 30-yard line, and a gain of about 7-8 more before Atwater and Braxton can make the tackle.
I'd like to see the Raiders go with a no huddle here just to see what the Denver defense would do. Maybe they could straighten that defense out from the standpoint of getting the same alignment every play, and then begin to throw their ball control passes.
Well, Buffalo used that very effectively, rallying from a big deficit 21-0 on Monday night.
It's best when you use a tight end and two backs because you keep people in their base defense, much as we did in the Super Bowl in that last drive.
Second down 2. Draw again, and it's Vance Mueller, and he gets only a yard. He'll be short of the first down. Greg Cragen, the nose guard, doing a good job stacking up that play.
There's no need to be conservative at this point, and I know I'm overstating it, but down 28-7, they might as well drop back and throw their intermediate passes, maybe run a draw about every fourth play, but they've gotten away with it so far. It's not as though it's failed. They're getting good pass protection, and if they did that without a huddle, much as the Bengals do, I think they'd have a chance to get back in and score. Then who knows?
Actually, it's third down and 1. Ball on the 29. The stakes are at the 28. Marcus Allen fumbles. And the Raiders recover for the first time. The ball turned loose, and Broncos didn't fall on it.
I'm sure Al Davis would wonder about that call, Dick. They pulled it. They trapped on 3rd and 1. There's no need to. Marcus Allen goes over the top better than anybody in football. And they ran a trap play, exposed the ball. Now on 4th down, they're going to have to go for it.
They lost a yard on the fumble. Dennis Smith appeared to be the man that forced the fumble. Now it's 4th and 2. And of course, they'll go for it with 4.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. And they're trying to score and cut that 28-0 lead in half. And Schrader caught on this play. They don't make it. It remains 28-7, and the Broncos well in control. Actually, it's 4th and 2.5. And they're going to pass, and it doesn't work. Michael Brooks comes in untouched. Michael Brooks, the man who recorded the safety in Buffalo Monday night that started the Broncos to a win, he comes in clean.
Of all people, is the backside linebacker on the play. No one there to block him. No one there to block him. I'd assume the guard should have opened up and picked him up. But in the 4th down situation, what you're going to get is just a basic blitz, and the man's unblocked. Now that's inherently a problem.
Are you surprised they didn't go to play action there? It was a straight pass all the way. Didn't try to deceive anyone.
I think Marcus could have gone over the top, still made it.
Here comes Bobby Humphrey. He fumbles the ball, and the Raiders recover a live ball. Washington can still run, and he gets to the 30-yard line. So Humphrey hit The Raiders get it right back. Tom Benson made the pop and knocked it free.
Now Raiders go down the field with this ball right now. Well, we get the same sweep with pulling people. The backside is picked up. The backside linebacker sits behind the guards and gets it. The backside tackle should have gotten there. That's all there is to it.
You know what? Watch Washington here. If his own man doesn't fight him for the ball, Washington might have his second touchdown. He has one with an interception. See right there, his own man almost tackles him, or he's on his way. There were no Denver men downfield. Well, the ball at the 32-yard line on the turnover. Is that statistic?
Well, I think it's here to stay. I'd say yes. Even the officials now buy it. At one point, you almost felt the officials were sabotaging it in their own way. They didn't believe in it. Artistically and professionally, they didn't like somebody else making the call. But now, it's just part of the game. They don't depend on it, but it's proven to be pretty darn good this year. They've made some good reversals and proper reversals.
The play stands. Ball at the 32. Marcus in motion. Schrader throws underneath to the tight end Mike Dial, and Dial is hit by 3 Broncos as he gets to the 23.
Just hold the ball, Dial. Now get right up and run another play right now.
Yep.
The clock's running. They're in scoring position.
Would you really go to the quicker no huddle at this point?
They have to at this point if they're thinking, you know, any chance of winning. And they've got a chance because if they can get in quickly here, they've got a full quarter. They'd have to get some breaks, no question about it. But it's been done. They did it a year ago.
Well, the other side of that is haste makes waste. And they don't want to squander the chance.
Flags are down. Schrader throwing to the sidelines. Fernandez out of bounds inside the 20, and we'll check the penalty.
Wilkerson jumped offsides and didn't jump offside. He jumped into pass protection. Now, the noise is a real factor here, Dick. I can recall that snowball game of a few years ago. The noise was so intense, I couldn't even think clearly. So this stadium, of all the outdoor stadiums, the configuration makes it really tough. And the people have always suffered.
Motion foul, number 68, offense.
The people that suffer are the offensive tackles. They can't hear the quarterback. They have to respond to the man in front of them.
So on a 2nd and 2, that 5-yard penalty will now make it 2nd and 7. There you see the stadium. It's even tougher when the opposing team is going the other direction. When you get into that closed end, at least there's some open area at this end of the stadium. Sellout, sellout. That's been the theme for 20 seasons now here in Denver. You got to be, if you join the list, you'd be about 100,000 people away from getting season tickets. They've got that much backlog. Good protection and a good catch by Fernandez at the 14-yard line.
Well thrown, well caught.
Wyman Henderson made the tackle. First down, Raiders. Fernandez, a star in the Canadian Football League before he came to Los Angeles.
He's a lot better player than I thought he was prior to the season, but now watching him week in and week out, he makes big catches. He's got that size, and he's typical of the Raiders receivers over the years. Goes well down the field and goes up for a ball one.
He's 6'3" and 205 in the Canadian League. He was the most valuable player with the BC Lions 4 years ago.
You'll notice he's a San Jose State man, by the way.
Right. First one I've ever met from San Jose State. Smith stacked up a yard at best, maybe more. Carl Mecklenburg, Andre Townsend and company. Just to finish on Fernandez, all he did in the Canadian League in 5 years, he caught 374 passes in 5 years.
Well, the Raiders waited for him to finish out a contract. Everybody in the NFL knew he was out there and were waiting for him to be available. And the Raiders were in on it. Much of the Al Davis mystique worked in that one.
He was picked in the 10th round in '83, so they went after him. 2nd down 9. Clock, though, ticking away. Less than 2 minutes in the 3rd. Schrader looking for an alternate receiver now. Fernandez batted away. Wyman Henderson. No, Tyrone Braxton made the play. Tried to go to the height in the end zone, but Braxton able to leap in front.
Good judgment on Schrader's part. He had nowhere to go. He had somebody right down his throat. The only thing he could do is put it up high and hope for a play.
And another flag, and it's against the Raiders. Might have been holding someone in that front wall.
Looked like Graves was really having to grab his guy.
Number 60, offense.
Rory
Second
Graves, the
down.
left tackle, Ohio State, where he played next to Lachey. Let's look at him. 60 far left.
He's in pretty good shape here, but he's got a grip that's so tight right there. You can see it hold easy. Well, he saw Schrader in trouble. It was each man for himself about that.
That's the ice truck there. He had the old prongs out there. Those are the things he used to carry those ice blocks around with. Left and right. He's going to hook on. Tongs. Screen up the middle to Smith. Another flag is down. And Smith gets to the 10, inside of the 9.
Oh, brother. I can't believe it. Everything's going wrong. It's just that the team just isn't functioning that well.
Number 60, offense.
Yeah, let's check the Graves yard.
He's in pretty good shape here. He's got a screen pass. He doesn't have to protect that long. Everything's okay, but that arm is around. Gee, I don't know. Maybe his right arm hooked the ankle or something, but
maybe you're watching a little more closely after you've just committed the foul.
yeah.
So Rory Graves yard. Two back-to-back holding calls that have pushed the Raiders back out to the 33. Steve Atwater shaken up, but okay. And the clock now 1:35 remaining in the third. The Raiders trailing 28-0 at halftime. Got the interception return of 32 yards by Lionel Washington to make it 28-7. And they have a chance here to cut it to 28-14, but are self-destructing. It is now second down and almost 30 yards to go. 29. Three-man rush. Schrader down the middle, incomplete. Another flag is down.
Well, that time Mecklenburg was putting the heat on outside, coming back up underneath Graves.
I think Jerry Markbright has rehearsed this call. Yep, 3 in a row.
Well, maybe they shouldn't have been running.
Second down.
You're seeing more holding here than Hulk Hogan in one of his matches.
Well, we've got, it looks like it's in pretty decent shape. Now, right there is the hook, right up underneath. I don't know, Dick. Maybe they should have been running. I thought they should just continuously throw those short, tight passes. But with this in mind, Mecklenburg makes a nice move up underneath. And the arm is held. Once the man passes, once Mecklenburg is past Graves, he can't leave that arm out there.
They were at the 12-yard line. Now they're at the 43-yard line. Schrader.
Oh.
Is it a catch or a drop? No, incomplete. Didn't have it long enough. Mike Alexander.
This is when the crowd noise, when the crowd can really get to you. That time they wanted Schrader outside to his left to take advantage of that pass rush coming up inside. He was in fine shape, but you have to concentrate on the cut. That was a good call. They had a chance to get the ball completed along the sideline, then another down to try to get in the end zone.
Or at least to get back into field goal range. Now they're back out at the 43-yard line where it is third down and 39.
Well, they're using up the clock.
4 plays and 4 penalties in this drive. And the clock now shows exactly a minute remaining in the third. No one there. Steve Smith was well covered. Dropping out was Ron Holmes, required from Tampa Bay, the former #1 pick of the Buccaneers. He just played it very loose on that backside and was playing pass coverage on Smith.
Well, those are the kind of things that are a good play, but called at the wrong time. We had a zone defense, third and huge yardage. Then you try to look for a throwback. You know the people are going to be waiting over there for something.
So instead of a touchdown, instead of maybe even a field goal when they were at the 12-yard line, now on 4th and 40. The Raiders bring their punt team on, and the Broncos, for whatever reason, call timeout with 53 seconds. That'll give us a chance to this contest. That one's a beautiful kick, but it's going to be way into the end zone.
10 yards in.
And it'll be a touchback at the 20 for the Denver Broncos. So for some of you, thanks for being along. The Denver, from 45 seconds left, third quarter. They got away with a fumble thanks to the penalties the Raiders committed. Sammy Winder showing some good speed straight up the middle, and he has 11 yards and a first down before Mike Harden, number 45, the former Bronco, can make the tackle.
Winder's really been a campaigner, hasn't he, for the Broncos? Been through it all. When they hadn't done well all the way through the Super Bowls, now he says, don't give me the ball outside.
He says, I don't have to try to get outside. We got Humphrey for that. But the remarkable thing about Winder, he's the second leading rusher in Denver history, over 5,000 yards, and he didn't get many long runs. His longest ever was 52 yards. Most of those 5,000 were 3s and 5s and 7s, and sometimes big ones like that, 11. He has been a good campaigner. End of the third quarter at Mile High Stadium, and it's still the Broncos, 28-7.
Away.
Elway told us at practice 2 days ago as he hands off to Winder. Winder weaving his way and fights out to the 42-yard line. Another first down. A dozen more for Sammy. Elway told us that last year was the first time in his career in Denver he didn't feel the team would win. They said the team just were hoping they wouldn't be embarrassed. Yeah, and yet they were 8-8.
Right after a couple of those big blowouts. They just didn't have the strength to match up well with some teams. They certainly matched up well with the 49ers for some reason. But otherwise, they didn't match up well. Now they've got the size. I'm not sure their offensive line has mobility, but it does have bulk. And they can use Winder inside, Humphrey outside.
Now Elway staying on the ground, and the Raiders now unable to stop Winder in those last two carries. Humphrey now joins Alexander. It's Alexander. And the fullback driving into Raider territory to the 49.
Now that looked good. Alexander hit that hole with power. Excellent blocking up front. Now that's exactly what they're after. They have 1 quarter now to use up the clock, but more importantly to develop this running game. For the first time, John Elway may not have to carry his team. It may be just good, solid, rock-hard running. They've got the combination of 4 backs that can block, can run outside, certainly Winder up inside. So they've got all the elements put together. Very young, but they've got the elements.
2nd and 2. Humphrey. Oh, was he smacked hard by Bill Packel, number 71. In his 7th year from Rutgers, Packel, a Brooklyn boy. Oh, he lowered the bridge on Humphrey.
You talk about 2 tough guys, Wise and Packel, playing defensive end for the Raiders. Neither one are the gifted athlete. They're both big, rangy.
Carried him off earlier with 15 stitches in his arm, and here he's back making a tackle like that.
Well, that's what the Raiders are famous for, or famous with, these kind of players. There's just not enough of them, and not enough with the great qualities they've had in the past.
Broncos, who are 39 out of 40 when they lead going into the 4th quarter, they have the big lead in this one, and hit hard. Golick coming through, and chip to hit Bobby Humphrey. Bob Golick, there he is, number 79. We asked him about his reaction when he first joined the Raiders. He said, well, in his own style, inimitable style, Golick said, well, the first thing I noticed was that, yeah, my wardrobe still works. I got a lot of black and silver stuff.
That's right.
Oh, my. So, pretty good hitting by the Raiders, and Horan has to kick it away. He sends one up the chute. Bobby Joe Edmonds lets it bounce. And that's going to be to the liking of the Broncos all the way to the 2. Darren Carrington downs the ball.
They have refined that art.
Well, he didn't go for the sidelines that time. He did hit the high, looking for the bounce, and got it. 28-7 Denver. The Raiders are deep in their own end and winning the game. The Broncos certainly must have been reminded by Reeves at halftime, hey, we blew a 24-0 lead last year right here, and the Raiders beat us in overtime. Let's not let it happen again. Schrader, for that 13 on his back. A little unlucky in terms of field position today.
He's truly in the shadows of his own end zone. Out it comes to Alexander. Breaks a tackle. One man to beat, Dennis Smith, and he rolls him down at the 36-yard line.
That was a heck of a throw. Alexander is one of those younger players on the Raiders they think has got a great future. But just did you see Smith come over and make that stop? Just had the poise, sat up inside, knew he was the only man left, just settled into that tackle.
What a first catch in the league for Mike Alexander. His first ever catch is worth 61 yards. Here he comes.
He works up the field. Smith is on his way over. Just can't wait. No, that's Atwater. Now look at this. Nice position, settled in, and he makes the grab.
First down at the 36, the biggest play of the game. In yardage. Schrader. That's going to be intercepted. Tyrone Braxton, his third of the year. He's on his way now into the open field. Oh, now he saw a white jersey and fell down at the 37.
Schrader had some heat just to his outside, but it was the ball is beautiful defense from the standpoint of forcing him to throw over people's heads. And with that in mind, he just had to throw it over people's heads to try to complete it. It wasn't there. What he had was a corner pattern where the heat coming outside him. He had to step up and try to throw it. He overthrew it to the outside.
He almost loses the ball here.
Tight end, over the top, couldn't quite make it. That's a tough throw, especially with that pressure from his outside.
Mike Dial, the tight end, was the intended receiver, and Braxton with his third interception in 3 games. From the 36, Elway throws it into the flat to his tight end Clarence Kay. Out to the 42-yard line, a gain of about 6. Tyrone Braxton, he was a late thought by the Broncos on draft day in '87. He was the 334th player picked out of 335, and he's looks like he's going to be their starter. They're beating out Mark Haynes.
It's turned out well for him.
Vance Johnson to the near side, Mark Jackson to the left.
They've got 2 little receivers out there.
And it's the draw to Winder, met by Van McElroy, and flags are down.
Well, the makeup of this Denver team with the 2 quick receivers on the outside, good solid tight end play. It looks like a good team. This, of all the teams we've seen, Dick, I think this one has as good a chance as any to go through the AFC and do well. They really do. Cleveland will be a big touch.
Offense, second down.
We have to figure with all the new players that they can only get better as the season progresses, whereas last year, well, we had a note on the players just released, the Rulon Jones, Mike Harden, the Steve Watsons, players with averaged around 10 years experience in making those changes. The veterans, most of them smaller size, not as quick. Now you get new life, the enthusiasm that comes with youth, and the Mecklenburgs and the Elways have said, hey, these kids are making us believe.
Well, Elway said this team has more potential than any of the other teams. And they've been some good ones.
Elway way off the mark to Mark Jackson. There were 4 Raiders around Jackson. Maybe he threw that away knowing that there was no chance.
Well, the value in Elway in this case is he can still make his big plays while these other people learn the game. And so he doesn't have that. They don't have the heat on them to have to perform so well as long as there's a John Elway and a Dennis Smith, for that matter, in that secondary. Now, the Raiders had some special blitzes for Denver. Mike Shanahan, knowing the Denver pass protection scheme, they've come close a couple of times, but it's hurt them because in that case, with the pressure, Elway's run for the yardage.
Elway's passing numbers not impressive, but he does have 2 touchdown passes. A little delay, and that's Winder. No way to get outside. And on 3rd down and long, the fans, they're ahead 28-7. Let's go to New York. All right, Bob, indeed. Remember that game a couple of years ago out in the Meadowlands, won in overtime by the Jets, and all those long passes. Mel Tunes
And that day, Wesley Walker having such a sensational day in beating Miami.
It was just yesterday it seemed that the Bear 46 defense dominated football.
Look at that kick by Horan. Edmonds does a good job spinning and turning and finally apparently stepped out of bounds back at the 24-yard line. So the Raiders have the ball. Less than 9 minutes to go. Denver leads 28-7. Welcome back to Denver, Colorado. A beautiful Sunday. Broncos leading 28-7 after the punt. Schrader starts from his 25. He's got a man open. Fernandez down the sidelines. Now a foot race, and Fernandez will go all the way. Swerving Mervin Fernandez ran a straight line that time, and no one covered him.
Well, the safety Smith was supposed to be over there, and he didn't quite make it. They had that big hole in behind the corner, and it was wide open. Well thrown, and Fernandez really showed speed right at the end of that play.
75-yard strike, and with 8:44 left, the Bronco lead is cut to 28-13.
You see that some inherent possibilities in the Raiders. They've got the big arm that Al Davis wanted. He went out and got it. He's got a Fernandez. He's got a Galt, and of course a Tim Brown for next year. He's got some of those elements are in place, but it's just so inconsistent.
There's the try for point by Jager. So Mervin Fernandez, fourth catch, 127 yards today, a touchdown to cut the lead to 28-14. Now Jager roots one deep. That's going to go right out of the end zone. That went about 75 yards in the air. Let's go back to the touchdown. That drive they squandered with all the penalties. This could be a 28-21 game with 8:38 left.
Now Denver's going to have to run the ball. This is the key to the game.
Winder, who protects the ball well, gets to the 24-yard line where it'll be 2nd down and 6.
3 first downs rushing. They can probably get 5 minutes off the clock with just 3 first downs rushing. And that's what they have to do right here. They can't afford incomplete passes.
Well, that's Schrader. He does have a rifle, doesn't he? These two men, Elway and Schrader, as we talked about, their many likenesses, and one again is their ability to throw the long ball. There's not many guys that can outrun their passes, and they've got some speed to throw to.
That's so sure. Elway's got a big advantage with playing so much more football than Schrader. Also, maybe his instincts are, they're so good. There aren't many like Elway, but Schrader does have the arm.
Here comes Benson, and the throw is off to the tight end, Pat Kelly, and he gets a yard before Van McElroy comes over to make the hit. Let's update you on the other scores. Boy, you need a computer to add up all of the touchdowns of this day. Miami now leading by 4 in the 4th. 21-6 San Diego, and Jim McMahon, apparently the Chargers going to get their first win of the year. The Rams led 38-7 in that game, and now in the 4th with plenty of time, Green Bay has closed within a touchdown. Buffalo in overtime 47-41. Philadelphia and San Francisco, that's not a correct score. San Francisco beat Philadelphia 38-28.
Trying to shortchange your former team.
There's the first down catch. He needed 6. He got 7 to Vance Johnson. Vance Johnson able to pick up the first down at the 31-yard line. We talked about his artistic talent, and he's been working on several projects. One is that of Sammy Winder. There is his painting of Winder. He likes Leroy Neiman, does Vance Johnson, and he also likes the work of Patrick Nagel, the late artist who painted women, and perhaps his strength, though, thus far as recognized in his shows, has been Vance Johnson's ability to do the portraits of women. In fact, a lot of the wives of Bronco players have asked that he do so. He's really an interesting, well-rounded man. He says he paints every day. Practice, no practice game. He takes time every day to paint. Caught in the backfield for a yard loss. Bobby Humphrey, Jackie Shipp, 58. Former Dolphin made the stop.
Vance is doing a portrait for the Reeves family, as an example. I understand for the Bolin family. What a unique guy. So bright, so articulate. And he sort of shows that kind of football creativity, that quick darting movement.
He said the other thing he's learned that has a carryover is patience. When you're painting, you have to be patient. And maybe he said, I'm bringing that from football to my painting. You have to be patient. For example, there's his first catch. He has to wait a long time. Same with his artistic work off the field.
Elway under pressure again, dumps it off to Humphrey. A good throw. And the tackle made by Mike Harden out at the 33.
that was Elway's quick release. It got away with that. Most quarterbacks have been dumped back there.
And he only gets 3 yards, but what a throw, right on the money.
Right on the money.
Vance Johnson said that Elway throws the ball so hard you can actually hear it whistling coming in, much like a baseball hitter talking about a Nolan Ryan fastball. You can hear it coming. He said, in fact, he's had several dislocated fingers in practice and games, and you see that right index finger of Vance Johnson. That's just because of the power of Elway's arm. Third down 7. Pressure, oh my, and there's a fumble. That's a live ball, and here goes Lyndon King for a touchdown. Oh my, we've got a game. Greg Townsend made the hit. Lyndon King in Honolulu surfing 6 days ago has a touchdown in Denver today.
Well, Mike Shanahan said they had the blitzes to beat the protection. They did. A totally unblocked man coming up inside. They gap blocked in here to pick McElroy up and come right up the field at King. Nobody touches him. So maybe they did have the answers. They waited quite a while to start using those answers, but they got it. They got the big play. Again, that running game in the third quarter we talked about, if John Elway and Dan Reeves had been able to run that football and use that clock, they'd feel a little bit more comfortable right now.
So Greg Townsend, the man who haunted Elway last year in the Coliseum when he returned an interception 86 yards, forces the fumble. Lyndon King gets the touchdown, and the Raiders, trying to come back from a 28-0 deficit, have their second defensive touchdown in this half. The first coming on Lionel Washington's 32-yard run with an intercepted pass. And now Lyndon King gets the score. 15 yards he rumbled after picking up the ball, and now the try for point by Jager. And there's Townsend, the man who forced the fumble. Jager makes it 28-21, and we've got plenty of time. 4 minutes and 51 seconds left. Injury-riddled linebacking core gets the touchdown. The kickoff down by Ken Bell, and the Broncos will take it at the 20. Their 28-0 lead down to 28.
And use the clock. Force the Raiders to use whatever timeouts they have.
4:45 left, and Elway comes out throwing on first down, and he goes long, and it is knocked away at the last minute. Lionel Washington and Vance Johnson had a half step on him. Washington made the play.
Tight play, but no time off the clock. No time off the clock. So in a sense, it's the thing to do. This is good job by Washington. He's dealing with a faster man than Johnson. He just reaches in to make the play. But again, now no time used on the clock. That could have been about 40 seconds of time had the Broncos run the ball. Just think of 40 seconds as this game winds down. 40 more seconds of time.
Well, you had the feeling, even the fans, they were booing when the Denver ran leading 28-7. And you got to remember, the first thing you want to do is win the game. Then you can get the long plays after. Now Elway racing for his life. Jackson downfield, incomplete. Almost intercepted on the deflection as Terry McDaniel, behind the play, almost picked it off. Van McElroy made the defense, knocking it free of Jackson.
Again, now obviously the Broncos are going to have to throw again. So you take 3 plays. If this is an incomplete pass coming up, you're talking about 2 minutes of football just by running the ball and not making a yard.
Boy, if McElroy came over a second line of defense nicely, and then the ball popping free in the midst of the Raiders. Well, here's a big play for Denver. Who would have thought that, the way they were controlling the game? Elway on the roll. And it's incomplete. As running Elway to the sidelines was Tom Benson.
Now the Raiders get the ball with plenty of time with completed passes into the middle of the field to tie this thing. Again, 3 passes. I don't know how much time they use there, Dick.
About 20 seconds.
About 20 seconds. See, one running play is 40 seconds at least. Maybe 42 or 3 the way the clock is used now. And 3 running plays, even no first downs, 3 running plays, then using your great punter to get you field position.
Exactly 22 seconds, Joe Costanza had the watch on it. That's how much time they used in those 3 plays. Now Horan to punt. Edmonds way back at his own 33. And Horan nails a honey.
What a punt.
Perfect spiral. Edmonds at the 29.
Looks for a block, has some open field this way, but a good play by Tim Lucas, number 59. He held his ground. He didn't go inside, was the contained man. Otherwise, Edmonds had nothing but real estate to the near sidelines. 51 more yards on a punt by Horan. He's been outstanding. Listen to this crowd now cheer for the defense.
Well, the heat's on the offense, the Raider offense, the noise, the stress of having to function in this situation. They've got a shot at it. They got the two big receivers. They got the big arm.
Deafening as Steve Smith on the draw gets it out to the 42-yard line. Carl Mecklenburg, the tackler, along with Dennis Smith. 5 yards for Steve Smith.
Come on, speed it up. Speed it up, Raiders. Too casual right at this point. A lot of time coming off that clock. If they had 15 or 20 more yards of field position, they could be casual, but they're going to have to get going.
Timeout situation. The Raiders have 2 left. The Broncos have only 1. 2nd and 5. Good protection. Long bomb. Oh, and Fernandez almost pulled that one in. Tyrone Braxton on the coverage. Boy, that Schrader, he looked as if he barely threw the ball, just lobbed it out there and it went 60.
Well, that was a hope shot that time. There was coverage on both sides of the receiver, both sides of him, along the sideline. Nothing really could happen off of that.
He was out of bounds anyway.
They need to get the ball down the field inside, even if it takes some time. There'll be some holes in that zone inside.
3rd and 5. These fans shaking the rafters here. Batted down, intercepted. Atwater, Steve Atwater. His 2nd interception today, and defensive coordinator Wade Phillips gets a big play from the rookie.
Was that a batted ball, Dick? I didn't see that ball.
Yeah, we're going to see it again right now.
now.
There's Atwater, 27, right in the middle of your picture.
He's just holding off, covering Marcus right here. Oh, just right to him. Gee, that's good hands. Good
But at that
reaction.
range to catch a ball thrown that hard, that's remarkable.
Atwater was just there to cover Marcus Allen, just waiting for Marcus to come out of the backfield. The throwing lane right over the top of him. He just reached up and caught it.
Well, the Raiders didn't spend a lot of time either. There's still 3:23 left. But the Broncos almost in field goal range now. This is Winder. 31-yard line, Bill Backel trailing the play, made the hit along with Van McElroy. And time called by the Raiders. That's an interesting use of that timeout to stop the clock now at the 3:13 mark.
I guess they just want to get it stopped as quickly as they can.
Boy, it's a 33-all on a Hector run late in the 4th quarter. 2nd and 6. Benson might have been offside there. Humphrey is hit at the 26-yard line. It appeared that Tom Benson was across the line of scrimmage before the ball was snapped. Let's see, the flag is down.
Well, all the Raiders can do now is to try to get the ball, do anything to get that ball clean. Well, he's looking at Benson. Benson moves, he moves. And that's the problem with motion away from the quarterback. You have to almost respond to the defensive man rather than your own quarterback's cadence.
So that takes away the gain on 1st down and puts the ball back at the 37, where it's 2nd down and 10 and a half. Call it 11.
Again, 40 seconds to run.
3:07 left in the game. 28-21 Denver. The Broncos led 28-0 at the half. 2 touchdowns by the Raider defense on a pass interception and a fumble have made it close. And nervous for these Mile High fans. Draw, Humphrey. Jackie Schiff was first to get there and drags him down at the 32. And you saw that quick start by Humphrey.
Timeout, Raiders. That'll be their final timeout with 2:58 left. They got remarkable comeback last year here in Denver, down 24-0, tied it in overtime, won that game, and then again in Los Angeles beat the Broncos 21-20. Here's a man, he doesn't show it and won't admit it, but from all the word you get surrounding the Raider camp, from the players to Al Davis to the press to the Los Angeles fans, Mike Shanahan, despite a 5-year contract, needs wins desperately to stay as the head man.
Or he needs his team to play consistently. They're just so erratic at this time. Not all of it's Mike's responsibility in a sense, because the talent hasn't been there as a group. Here's that same blitz again, teaming up inside.
And it's the pitch to Winder. Read well by the defense, but Winder on his own hard running may have the first down at the 24.
15 now on the game clock.
Humphrey.
And he draws the crowd. McElroy first, and then Golick to make the stop, and that'll take it to the 2-minute warning right now.
Well, they can see Humphrey in the game. That shows you how much confidence they have in him.
So with 2 minutes to go and no timeouts left for the Raiders, it's the Broncos by 7.
It's sort of an enigma. Some great things show up, and then some just absolutely horrible things show up.
2nd and 10, and here's Winder. And Mike Harton, his former teammate, knocks him down short of the first down. That'll bring up 3rd down and about 2.5. No way to stop the clock for the Raiders. Rams now take a 41-31 lead against Green Bay with 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter.
Mike Shanahan, what stress, and he's handling it extremely well. I think he's doing an excellent job, but maybe that maturity there. If he'd had 8 or 10 more years of NFL experience as a coach, as an example, or a player, I think it would be helping him immensely right now. But he's got the mind for it.
Denver has rushed the ball for 175 yards today. That's one of their major improvements on this team. Rushing offense, rushing defense. Winder caught in the backfield by Mike Wise, number 90. That'll bring up 4th down, and the clock ticks at 1:07. The 45 seconds. This is where I think 45 seconds in the final 2 minutes seems unjust, that a team should be able to sit without initiating a play for 45 full seconds.
Now there's about 8 or 10 seconds there that most often wouldn't have occurred because the ball would have been blown dead early, and that he really could. Coker from San Francisco is very comparable, but they've got that strong, steady leg. And what a difference it makes, especially at this altitude.
He doesn't have the power, leg power, that some other kickers in terms of distance, but they just marvel at his accuracy. He not only kicks field goals, but he kicks them right down the center.
Just like a machine.
So 31-21 Denver. The only hope there was for the Raiders to block the field goal, and that was the only risk taken. Next Sunday, there's our lineup.
Oh, spy.
It's our assignment. There's the kickoff by Treadwell, and he gets it into the end zone, and the Raiders take it at the 20.
Well, the Raiders can come back. They've done it before, not in this game, obviously, but this season, when they get everybody healthy, if they get in sync, if they just hang in there. There are all kind of rumors surrounding this thing, and talk and dialogue in the background and rhetoric, but they're still a good enough team and a great enough organization to bring it all back together and make it work.
Well, they get Howie Long back and Jerry Robinson back. They've got Marcus Allen, but he's been quiet the second half. When they're trailing 28-0, there just wasn't as much chance to use him. He's on the sidelines now as they go to the 4 wide receivers. Schrader in the shotgun. 27 seconds to play. Schrader. Incomplete. Try to hit Fernandez. Randy Robbins there for Denver.
Schrader's biggest problem, and I'm sure it can be developed, is those passes between 10 and 20 yards. He tends to drill the ball as a hard catch to make. It might look accurate, but it's a tough catch. Elway, on the other hand, he's got such a tight spiral that people tend to be able to handle his ball a little better.
Elway, statistically, you look at his numbers today, and they're not all that impressive, but gee, he made some big plays in that first half. When they had the opportunity, Elway was there to convert. Schrader, meanwhile, is 15 for 27, 290 yards and a touchdown. 3 interceptions. He throws it long. Almost caromed to Alexander, number 89. Elway on the day was was 11 for 23. Had a couple touchdown passes to Mark Jackson. 131 yards total offense from his passing game.
Well, Dan Reeves and Pat Bowlen, both expert in the game. Pat, a wonderful owner, and Dan, a great coach. It just made this an outstanding franchise. If you think of where they've come since Dan came in and Pat came in, it's become one of the great franchises, certainly in the AFC, and they're going to be here to stay from the standpoint of continuity. Pat knows just enough football, when to step in and when to step back, and that combination makes for a great organization.
Well, a fine athlete himself, and triathlete, can relate to the rigors of the game.
I saw you're a triathlete. I saw you on the weight machine, the bike, and the rowing machine.
Marbles, bowling, and I'm looking for a third. Schrader uncorks another long one. Bounces around, and again, Alexander was the closest man to the ball. It came down, almost picked off the rebound, and now chance for a final player. Thanks to our help in the booth, Steve Bazika, Mark Friedman, Ray Friedman, Cliff Dodge, Joe Costanza.
Rest for Howie would make a difference. He really needs a rest on that ankle because he's a confidence builder.
Well, I don't think I'm having any problems with confidence right now. I just wanted a big day. With 2 catches really isn't a big day for me. I don't consider it a big day, but I just wanted them to know that, I could do the things that they need me to do when they need it, and that's the big part.
I remember on the first one, a post pattern, and I thought Elway made a great throw.
It was. We had looked at that during the week when we were watching film. McElroy often bites on the first action, and he faked him off to the left, so it was me and Washington on the backside.
Second one, I believe, was a scramble, and he found you in the end zone.
Yeah, one of those improvised plays, and we did connect on it. Originally a hook route, and I wound up crossing across the end zone.
But did you think at all, or was anything said at halftime about what happened last year in here?
I think it's written on the board. Someone erased it. Yeah, someone put remember last year on the board. So we came out definitely fired up in the second half, but we weren't able to do anything on the ground, and I think that hurt us.
Mark, thanks very much. I want to get to Carl Mecklenburg. Thanks.
All right.
Mark Jackson. Carl Mecklenburg, congratulations on a fine ball game.
Thank you.
I thought you did an excellent job of handling their offense, because when you think about it, there were only 7 points scored against the defense.
That's true, and that 1 7-point was a long play that was just a one-on-one deal, and they beat our guys. So I thought we played pretty well defensively. We got a whole lot of turnovers. I don't know how many, 6 or 7. And anytime you do that, you should win the game.
I don't know what you did to Rory Graves in the third quarter, but have you ever seen anything like that? 3 successive holding calls. I know you were involved in a couple of those.
Yeah, he was dragging me down from behind. I don't know what he was doing, but I'm glad they called it. Usually they don't call that kind of thing.
Let me ask you the same thing I asked Mark at the half. Such a
character that we're not going to let that happen. And we came back and we fought hard defensively the whole second half as well as the first half.
You are now the only 3-0 team in the AFC. For a team coming off an 8-8 year, supposedly in transition, you're not playing like that.
No, we're really excited. We haven't run up against any adversity yet this year. We haven't gotten behind early, and so I wouldn't look at us as a veteran team or a favorite team, but we'll see what kind of guts this team has when we get down early, and maybe we can come back.
Before you run, as a defensive leader, when you look at a Bobby Humphrey standing next to you, does he instill in you defensively a feeling that, hey, if we can do the job, they can do it on the other side of the ball?
That's right. That's the great thing about having guys like Bobby and John Elway and guys like that on the other side of the ball. They control the ball, get points, and you let up an easy score, that our team's going to come back and score too.
Carl, congratulations. Good luck in Cleveland.
Thanks.
Okay, Carl Mecklenburg. Bobby Humphrey is here next to Carl. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did the veterans remind you about what happened in the Bronco-Raider game a year ago in this stadium?
Well, yes, I heard about it over and over again. So, I was very aware of their coming back capabilities.
Was it somewhat nerve-wracking on the sidelines in the second half?
Well, we just kept our poise and just hung in there. Defense played a great second half. Great ball game by the defense overall, and they did some great things for it. And a couple of turnovers, on the offensive side of the ball, let them get back in the ball game. But we just kept our poise. The defense stayed in there and stuck with it, and we was able to pull it out.
On your fumble, Bobby, it looked like Jariga missed the block, and you were hit as soon as you got the ball.
Well, that's one thing. I was too comfortable carrying the ball right at that point in time. I really didn't see the guy backside. And and he got the ball. You know, there's something that just can't happen. You know, and a running back always hate the fumble, even though you gotta look at it and forget about it. You know, but that's one of the things I'm had to concentrate more on is the backside pursuit.
Final thing, you seem to be getting more comfortable each week.
Yes, I feel comfortable because, like I wasn't expected to go in the ball game early like I did, but I was able to get in there and it made me feel a little better and better, and I ran a little better.
You got Steve Atwater standing next to you. Can you believe the pick he made at the end of the game?
Well, Atwater does that every day. You know, that's no big thing right there. He's a talented guy, and having him on the other side of the ball, that's something special.
Hey, Bobby, thanks very much.
Okay.
Steve Atwater is here. Yeah, that was very nice of him to say.
He me up.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I've seen a lot of picks in this stadium over 15, 20 years. That was one of the better ones because you seem to be only about 7 or 8 yards in front of Schrader.
Yeah, I was. That's the kind of play I dreamed about, and finally make it happen. It feels great to me, too, and I'm glad it happened at the time that it happened, too.
Do you practice that kind of a play where you make a pick when it's coming that quickly and you're that close to the QB?
Well, a lot of times in practice, when we're working on a nickel package and I'm up there, I try to get my hands up, and a lot of times I knock the ball down, but I've never intercepted one like that, no.
You seem to be getting, you personally, more comfortable and more aggressive and better every single week.
Well, I hope so. That's what I need to do. That's what they drafted me for, to come in and I wouldn't say be great right away, but keep progressing to a point to where I will be a great player.
Hey, thanks for coming over and congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Steve Atwater, one of the many heroes today for the Broncos. We'll return for more in the Bronco and the Raider locker room in just a minute.
Harden, the former Denver Bronco, who was part of the Raiders defense that brought the team nearly back to victory. Do you wish that the first half could have been replayed, Mike?
Sure. We made some probably costly mistakes early on in the game that I think probably hurt us in the end. We just didn't have enough time to come back.
How was it for you to come out on this field in the white and silver jerseys and to see the other guys in orange?
Well, it was kind of eerie at first, just knowing that I played with this team for so long. And, then once the game started, it was all business and just go out and play hard.
What did the defense do differently in the second half in stopping down the Broncos that they did not do in the first half?
Well, I think the main thing is we just kept playing hard. We decided not to get frustrated because of the fact that John was scrambling around and buying time and that they hit some plays early. We just said, hey, look, the first half is behind us. We got to go out and play hard and try to turn things around.
Was there a feeling that the team was going to come back and do what it did last year and beat the Broncos in the second half?
Well, last year I wasn't really a part of this side, but there was a feeling that we could do it, and we made some plays early on in the second half that got us back into it, and we felt like if we just keep on coming after them, we can make something happen again, and we did, but I think that when we had that turnover late in the game, that really hurt us.
The irony for you is that the man who's playing your position made the big interception in the second half of the Broncos, Steve Atwater. Your thoughts on that?
I thought Steve had a good day. He played hard and everything, and I've said before that he's going to be a good player. And not to take anything away from him or anything like that. I've always felt like he was going to be a good player, and it was just their day overall. Offensive and defensive.
You get a different view of the Broncos playing against them, something that you can assess in terms of taking an objective view of them, if that's possible at this point?
Well, one thing I always said when I was a part of the team was that in order for the Broncos to be successful, they had to get off to a fast start. We always felt that way, and that's one of the things. Once they get going and get off to a fast start, right now they're 3-0. They're the front runner. They're playing with a lot of confidence, doing a lot of things well. They're the type of team that's hard to beat, because they play with confidence, and they're that type of team.
All right, Mike, thanks much, and continued success to you with the Raiders.
Thank you very much.
Not too much success as far as the Broncos are concerned.
All right, take care.
Mike Harden, former Broncos safety, now playing for the Los Angeles Raiders. Might mention one other comment I got earlier from Mike Haynes, the all-pro defensive back, who was most impressed with the Broncos defense and said that, in fact, it was a defense much like when the Broncos were in their glory years. And I think that's the feeling on a lot of the members of this Los Angeles Raiders team. We'll be talking to more as time goes on. Now let's go back to the Broncos locker room and Ron Zappolo. Ron?
Greg Cragen, congratulations. And I thought you set the tone for the ball game when you were tangling with Marcus Allen's foot with your face. You want to talk about that?
I don't know what happened. I thought it was a clean tackle by me, and he just, for some reason, decided to kick me right in the face. And natural reaction is just to come back on him the way I did. Although this morning the coach just said no stupid penalties or no fighting back, so they say. And thankfully the penalty wasn't on me, and they saw it right away. So I don't know. The defense was fired up, and we just felt like we had to go out and prove ourselves again, like every week. And things started out really well for us.
Defense has been fired up for 3 weeks. You give up 7 points today, and the thing most impressive, and I want you to talk about this, you've been so physical for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think it kind of helps with the way the defense is. I mean, we're coming up field right away and reacting after that. So I think that helps us, and guys have been in position for the first 3 games. They've been where they're supposed to be, and they're making the plays. And we're causing turnovers, and it's just, I mean, everybody feels great about it.
Sure. Well, 6 turnovers. You're certainly causing turnovers. How much enthusiasm do all of these young players bring that you see all around you?
Well, I think it really helps. It's tough to get up every week for 16 weeks, but at the same time, it's your job to win. So these guys, when you're not feeling as up, they're all excited, and they're making big plays like Steve's big play in the 4th quarter. I mean, those kind of things just pick everybody up, and a lot of the young guys are making them, and then again, the vets are coming back and making them too. So it balances out really well.
Greg, you're the only 3-0 team in the AFC.
It feels great, but the thing is, we got to take them 1 week at a time, and Cleveland's big game for us next week, and we'll bring some confidence out there with us.
Hey, thanks for coming over.
You bet. Thank you.
Greg Cragen, who had a fine ball game, has had a fine 3 games. So the Broncos do it again. They get that big lead, and they hang on and win it 31-21, the only 3-0 team in the AFC. And, of course, they got a long week now. They play in Cleveland a week from tomorrow night. Ron Zapolo, News 4 from the Bronco locker room.
And was it Yogi Berra, huh? Said it ain't over till it's over. 28-0. Looked like it was going to be a blowout and a little deja vu, huh? Last Monday night came back here. The Monday night last year came in everybody's mind. Steve Atwater, though, with a big defensive play. You got a game ball. Hold that game ball up, Steve.
Yeah.
Tell me about the interception. Big defensive play, the second one.
Well, I was covering Marcus Allen on the play, and he checked on the play. He didn't release for a pass, and I was able to slide over with him. And I saw Jay Schrader about to throw the ball, and I was able to get my hands up and haul it in.
Big throw, the first interception.
Well, we were in half coverage on that play, and the 2 receivers, they were outside of me, and they were running down the field, and I saw the quarterback throw the ball. I was surprised that none of the receivers came back for the ball, and it seemed like he threw it right to me, so that was an easy pick for me.
Did they do anything differently in the second half to when they came back offensively?
Well, no, they didn't really do anything differently. They pretty much did what we anticipated them doing. Unfortunately, we were able to score a couple of points. Their defense was able to score some points, and they kind of had us worried, but we knew that they'd come out the second half playing hard, and as long as we were able to hold on to the win, we were happy.
Okay, thanks, Steve Water, and another big play guy here, Mark Jackson, 2 touchdowns. What was going through your mind? Did you think of last year when they came back and got it 28-14?
Well, actually, I was just looking for a catch after the first 2 games. To have a touchdown score was pretty exciting for me, I guess.
You had a pretty good game, two scores. Looked like it was going to be a blowout, but the Broncos have trouble putting teams away, don't they?
Yeah, when we came out the second half, we were thinking a lot about last year, but it's evident last week in Monday night, we came out the same way, kind of stagnant in the second half. We haven't been able to deliver that knockout punch, and that's something we're going to have to work on to be a contender.
Dan Reeves kept the door shut a little bit after the game.
Well, he's pretty excited. I think he was thinking about last year a lot, too. Of course, I was on the sideline watching that game, so I had some fond memories of the Monday night game last year, and we were able to put him away with some defensive turnovers.
Okay, thank you. Mark Jackson, 3-0, Tom, but they're going to have to play 2 halves of football next Sunday in Cleveland if they're going to beat a pretty good Cleveland Browns team.
And I'm sure the Browns, as usual, have a little extra incentive in waiting for the Broncos. New coach Bud Carson there.
They always love to see him come to town.
All right, thanks a lot. Mike Nolan from the Bronco locker room, the 3-0.